Who are El-Aurians in Star Trek, and how long does Guinan's race live for? The Star Trek franchise has introduced countless fascinating alien species over the decades, each with their own unique traits, cultures, and mythologies. Some races are built around hard science fiction concepts, while others serve as metaphors for philosophical and emotional explorations. One such mysterious and captivating species is the El-Aurians, best known through the iconic character of Guinan, portrayed by Whoopi Goldberg. El-Aurians have made only a handful of appearances across the Star Trek universe, but they have left a deep and enduring impression. They are a species shrouded in enigma, refugees, listeners, survivors, and perhaps even more than what's shown on screen. Central to their mystique is their long lifespan and the impression that they may have a deeper relationship with the universe than most beings. But who exactly are the El-Aurians? And how long do they live? Let's take a closer look at the intriguing history, culture, and biology of this elusive species, and explore the deeper implications behind Guinan's mysterious longevity. A race of listeners. The El-Aurians are often described as a race of listeners. That term may sound vague, but it's deeply significant in the Star Trek context. Unlike warrior races like the Klingons or technological giants like the Borg, the El-Aurians are defined by empathy, perception, and the ability to sense disruptions in time and space. They are wise, intuitive, and unusually sensitive to the emotional and temporal currents of the universe. This trait is most clearly exemplified in Guinan. As 10 Forward's bartender aboard the USS Enterprise D in Star Trek, The Next Generation, she is far more than just a casual confidant. Her ability to listen and to understand people on a profound level makes her a spiritual advisor to many of the ship's senior officers, including Captain Jean-Luc Picard. She often offers advice that cuts through tactical thinking and gets to the heart of a situation. Her perception extends beyond words. She feels the shape of things, often instinctively knowing when something is wrong, even across timelines or alternate realities. This heightened awareness is not just metaphorical. Guinan's extrasensory perception has been confirmed on multiple occasions. In the classic episode Yesterday's Enterprise, Guinan is the only person aboard the Enterprise D who realizes that the timeline has been altered. Her discomfort and unease ultimately prompt Picard to trust her intuition, resulting in a restoration of the correct timeline. This moment cements her status as more than just a wise alien. She is a being with an almost supernatural grasp of time and reality. Survivors of tragedy. The history of the El-Aurians is marked by sorrow. Their homeworld, El-Auria, was destroyed by the Borg sometime before the events of Star Trek, The Next Generation. The Borg, known for assimilating entire civilizations, wiped out the El-Aurians' culture in one of their many conquests. Only a small number of El-Aurians survived, fleeing across the galaxy. Many of these refugees were eventually intercepted by the USS Enterprise B during the events of Star Trek Generations, as they were caught in a temporal energy ribbon known as the Nexus. Guinan was among the survivors, and although she was physically rescued, a part of her consciousness remained inside the Nexus, a detail that would become significant decades later. This backdrop of loss and survival adds a poignant layer to the El-Aurian identity. They are a scattered people, burdened with memory, yet seemingly unbowed. Despite the trauma, they continue to offer wisdom and comfort to others, carrying their culture forward in the way only a few survivors can. Guinan, the face of El-Auria. Whoopi Goldberg's Guinan is easily the most well-known El-Aurian in the Star Trek canon. When she joined The Next Generation, it wasn't just a cameo. Goldberg was a lifelong fan of Star Trek and lobbied to join the show. She had been inspired as a child by Nichelle Nichols' Uhura in the original series, who was one of the few black women on television at the time in a role of authority and dignity. As a result, Guinan was never written as a generic alien or background character. She was someone with gravitas and mystery. Her age, her long-standing friendship with Picard, and her deep sense of purpose made her one of the most compelling recurring characters in TNG. At times, it even seemed as if Guinan was a spiritual equal to Q, the omnipotent trickster being who respected her in a way that bordered on fear. In fact, in the episode Q Who, Q refers to Guinan as someone with powers not fully understood by the crew. This interaction raised eyebrows and fueled fan theories that the El-Aurians might be far more powerful than they appear. Could they have some untapped cosmic potential? Were they once more than listeners, perhaps even rivals to the Q? How long do El-Aurians live? One of the most intriguing elements of the El-Aurians is their longevity. While their exact lifespan is never explicitly stated in canon, all clues suggest that they live for several centuries, perhaps even a millennium or more. Guinan herself has hinted at her advanced age several times throughout the next generation. In Rascals, when Picard, Ro-Laren, and Guinan are transformed into children by a transporter accident, Guinan reveals that she was a child hundreds of years ago and that El-Aurians can remain youthful far longer than humans. When she first meets Mark Twain in Star Trek, TNG's Time's Arrow, set in the 19th century, she appears not significantly younger than she does in the 24th century, implying that she has aged little over hundreds of years. This aligns with what we know about El-Aurian physiology. They age very slowly and possess strong biological resistance to many human ailments, possibly explaining their resistance to temporal distortions as well. Furthermore, Guinan appears again in Star Trek, Picard, Season 2, where she is shown in two timeframes, once in the 21st century played by a younger actor, Ito Aguirre, and again in the 25th century as the original Whoopi Goldberg. While this portrayal plays a bit loosely with continuity as aging for actors is inevitable, it still suggests that El-Aurians live for several hundred years, if not more. All signs point to a natural lifespan of at least 500 to 800 years, with some fans theorizing they could live even longer if not killed or assimilated. Their longevity, combined with their memory and listening abilities, makes them living repositories of galactic history. Other El-Aurians in Star Trek. Though Guinan is the most prominent El-Aurian, she is not the only one. In Star Trek Generations, another El-Aurian named Dr. Tolian Saran, played by Malcolm McDowell, serves as the main antagonist. Like Guinan, he was a survivor of the Borg attack and a refugee aboard the ill-fated ship caught in the Nexus. However, unlike Guinan, Saran was obsessed with returning to the Nexus and was willing to destroy entire star systems to do it. Saran's character shows a different side of the El-Aurian psyche, one twisted by grief and longing. His inability to cope with the loss of his family and his former life leads him down a dark path. It is a reminder that even the wisest and longest-lived species are not immune to pain. Another El-Aurian, Martis Mazur, appears in Star Trek Deep Space Nine's episode Rivals. Mazur is a con artist whose lack of Guinan's compassion and sense of ethics presents yet another contrasting personality within the species. He uses his natural charm and listening skills for manipulation and personal gain. Together, these characters show that El-Aurians, like humans, come in all moral shades, but all share the same innate,